A couple of them bring us back to the idea of a project manager at your CDMO. In my experience working at a CDMO, I don't think you can have a well put together relationship without a project manager who knows what he or she is doing and works internally on your behalf. So the question is, some of the questions are related to what kind of person should be a project manager. How do you know when you're about to select a CDMO that their project managers are good, or that in fact they're going to give you the time that you need. So anybody want to talk a little bit more about the importance of the CDMO's project management vis-a-vis this larger, more intricate relationship we're trying to put together?
I can give one quick comment. I think where we find project managers to be most effective if it's when they have a technical background. So technical project management, to me, it's so critical.
Yeah, I'll add a little to what Reza said, but I would say that we need to look at what's the core responsibility of a project manager. It's to keep the project on track. It's to manage those multiple expectations and multiple personalities who are all part of that project, right? So the technical understanding of the industry in which they're working in, the organization, the product is definitely a plus. But I would look for someone who has that experience of the project management, who understands the business and the project deliverable aspects. Because I'm not going to get the project manager to solve my issues with maybe scale up or, getting a yield or something. But I would definitely want them to be people who, when their expectations are all going, everyone's working in different directions, or the project is not staying on track, then to be able to handle that well.
Very good.
I think as well, it appears as quite often a fairly simplistic or junior role, and actually the depth of experience of the project manager is critical, because they have to, there's other questions about, if your project's going off track, they have to be big and brave enough to listen to the sponsor when they're unhappy. They have to disseminate that unhappiness and get to the nub of the issue and actually translate that into action in their organization. So these guys really straddle the partnership, and sometimes I'm looking for them to front off on my behalf back into their organization, and equally sometimes I'm looking to them to tell me when I'm not getting things right, or talk to me about when I'm not being a great sponsor, which hopefully, I'm not doing very often, but I need to hear that too. So these guys need to be tough eggs. I don't know that the CDMOs always see that or put tough eggs in the role, to be a bit provocative, maybe.
Yeah, very good.
Yeah.
Very good.
Yeah,
and it always, yep. Go ahead, Shriram.
No, I was just going to say, we've had cases where we've actually gone to have a project manager replaced because the technical teams were all very, very competent, but the project manager, for whatever reason, is either inexperienced, and they have not been a good advocate, and that's really the word, that they need to advocate both for their teams with the sponsor to make sure that the sponsor has the expectations correctly or has conveyed the priorities correctly, and vice versa, where the projects are where the representative sponsor within their own back teams and get the resources correctly. And we've seen cases where the communication, the project manager has not really understood the context or the deliverables clearly. And, in some cases, we've had, cases where we just wanted this thing scaled up. We didn't want to optimize for the yield because our timelines were such that we could take a 50% yield, but we need it like next week. And in some other cases, we need we have a little bit of luxury of time, but we want the best possible process. So it depends, and the project manager should be able to react and understand that. And I think that's the key, is that they need to be over communicative and not be shy of telling giving bad news to either sponsor or their own internally.
Mm-hmm. Very good. I mean, I think Kirstine hit on it, but it always amuses me when we talk about project management. It's always on the side of the CDMO. And again, what the sponsor, who's the project manager at the sponsor, and this may sound very strange, but who at the sponsor is sticking up for the CDMO, who has some ideas or is warning you against something. And I think that's where you were going, Kirstine. But just to end this project management part of the discussion, it is, again, a two-way street, and part of a sponsor's strategy for outsourcing should certainly include having at least a central contact person working with the CDMO's project management as well as the scientists. So that's the strategy as well.
Very much so. And do you know what? I expect my project manager on my side of the relationship to be advocating for my CDMO sometimes. So the internal negotiation, more often than not, is just as key as that negotiation across the relationship.